You know, when we talk about things, we usually talk about things that are real. We almost never talk about things that are unreal, if you know what I'm saying. I'm, of course, not talking about the engine Unreal Engine 5, but I'm talking about some real stuff that has been happening in the GD community. Some stuff that, oh my god, this UFO is my favorite. Some achievements that are just mind blowing, and things that nobody would have ever thought we would achieve if you asked us like a few years ago. But now we have actually achieved all of those things, which are kind of mind-blowing if we go through all of them. And this is actually one of the reasons why I love the game Geometry Dash. It's because no matter how long you play it for, there's basically no limit to how good you can get at the game. Some people always, throughout the history of Geometry Dash, thought that there was a limit that we are going to hit, and from there on, that's basically going to be the peak of Geometry Dash skills. And from there on, we're just never gonna break that ceiling and progress further. But that's not the case in Geometry Dash. We always get more and more mind blown the farther we go in time. Things like this can be applied to the insane amount of dedication it requires you to beat an extreme demon. Something that was pretty much deemed impossible back in 2015. But now we have absolutely demolished that record, and people that are having skill issues can beat levels like Bloodbath, which was seemed impossible a very, very long time ago. And now you can take a look at all of these things that I just talked about, and then you can maybe calculate or imagine how these things could look in the future. Because Geometry Dash is a game that, like I said, it has no limits. So if you want to make a level, you can absolutely make it humanly impossible. So there are levels on the server right now that they are seemingly impossible as of right now. One very popular example would of course be Silent Circles 15, which came out a very, very long time ago, probably like 10 years ago now, and it has some of the craziest, unimaginable inputs that you are required to do in order to complete the level. And these inputs that you're seeing right now on the screen are, yeah, they are very, very easy in comparison to what you're about to see right now. So this is where the level gets absolutely humanly nuts, and yeah, it's just undoable. No way anyone could do this. Maybe somebody from 2034 can clip this and send it to me if we ever manage to do this. Maybe. maybe. Just like levels like Bloodbath were seemed absolutely impossible 10 years ago are now being completed by average. Okay, I'm exaggerating. This level is still pretty hard, but it's doable. Like, a lot of people have beaten this level. If you go over here, it's like more than 200 people have beaten this level. So it's definitely possible. And I myself, with only like 3,000 stars, have beaten this level as well. As my first extreme demon, by the way. We did it on stream, so make sure to follow me there. But the story is that things that were seemingly impossible back then are now being done with ease. So do you guys think that we're gonna have this insane switch where we're just gonna feel like everything's just becoming easier and easier? And because it's so crazy. Every time I think about this, it just doesn't cross my mind at all. So levels like this, which came out probably like 3 years ago now, were basically seen as the hardest level humanly possible in the entirety of Geometry Dash. So this was the peak. This was the limit. That was it. Like, if you beat this, you have beaten the game. This was like the hardest thing that you could have ever done. And now, yeah, I think you guys can already see where this is going. So this is a list of the top hardest levels in the game that have been verified. So levels that have been at least beaten once by a Geometry Dash players. So something that is officially possible. And we can see that if we scroll up a little bit, we can see some of the craziest levels out here. But then you see as number 9 comes Slaughterhouse, the level that I showed you that was deemed as the limit to the game, the top hardest thing you could ever do in Geometry Dash, is now placed at number 9 on the demon list. And above it comes just absolutely insane stuff, like the same difficulty of this one, but it's extended to a few more minutes, which is, I don't know how humans are able to do this. And then you have levels that were literally published back in 2014. Levels that came out a decade ago are now being verified and placed at number 4 on the demon list. So you guys can see how this can play out for the future of Geometry Dash. If we have levels that are right now seemingly impossible impossible, trust me, in the future, they're gonna rank on this demon list as possible. And the more you go up, the more you go to the top, the crazier and crazier the list gets. And the level that was seemed to be the hardest levels, the level that was basically seen as the level, the hardest top 1 demon in the entire game, is now at number 9. And what's at number 1 is basically something that has a very similar skill base, but it's just extended on a very, very long period of time. So not only do you have to control your nerves, but you also have to make insanely precise inputs like seen in this video. This is a showcase, and the hitboxes in this part are absolutely nuts. And this is your only 50 seconds into the level, and you still have about 1.5 minutes remaining of gameplay. And all of that includes some of the craziest things that I myself could, never. And I think the majority of the Geometry Dash players in the GD community can also never imagine themselves cruising through this whole insanely put together level, because we're humans. A 3-minute level. Imagine putting yourself in a situation where if you miss a single click, or if you delay a single click by probably like 50 milliseconds, you are doomed. And some of those clicks are actually frame perfects, meaning that you have to click on the exact same frame. If you click 1 frame earlier or 1 frame later, you are basically doomed, and you have to restart all of that from square numero uno. So I think you guys can kind of understand how insanely these achievements are, And despite me explaining this, I am 100% sure it is much, much more frustrating for you to be in that situation of trying to beat a level like Tidal Wave, or any of those levels that are on the top demon list. So no matter how much I explain it to you, it just is not going to have the same feeling as if you are playing the level, because experiencing something is always a lot different than just talking about it and having a bunch of feelings about it. So a massive W to all of the Geometry Dash players that have done an extreme demon. Like, honestly, I want to, give a W to anybody that has beaten an extreme demon, if you know what I'm saying. I'm just kidding. I myself have been an extreme demon, and you won't understand how hard it is until you actually give it a try, and then you'll see how much dedication it needs, and how much patience, and how much control you're gonna have over your nerves, because a single mistake, a single misinput, whatever it is, the game doesn't care. You're just gonna go back to square number 1. And achievements like this are not being tracked by numbers, but there are other achievements that are being tracked by numbers, which are absolutely fascinating. Like, for example, back in 2017, if you guys remember, we had like Shaggy, X Miguel, and also Michigan on the leaderboard competing against each other. And back then, the maximum stars you could have was 65325 something. So it was 60,000 stars. And if you reached 60,000 stars, that was the maximum that it could be displayed on your profile. Until Robtop fixed that, and now the number is much, much higher. And back then, having 60,000 stars was like you would end up in the top 1 of the whole game. Like, you would be the number 1 player that has the most stars in the entire game. But then people reached 100,000 stars. In fact, 150,000 stars, and they are at number 100 on the leaderboard of all of the people that have stars in this game. And as we go up the list, you can see how many people have broken this achievement of 100,000 stars. It is truly mesmerizing and takes so much dedication and also respect. So if you scroll up, you can see people are starting to have 200,000 stars. That was basically like impossible. As soon as somebody hit 100,000 stars, that was the biggest celebration we've ever had, because it was a completely new digit being added onto your profile. So now the more we go to the top, we have 40 people with 200,000 stars. Imagine the time it took them to get through there. And we have 250,000 stars being done by pretty much 12 of the Geometry Dash players have 250,000 stars. So in total, they all have collected 3 million stars. Only the top 12 players of the Geometry Dash community. That is fascinating. And if we scroll up a little bit more, we can see that the first person to ever reach 300,000 stars is Smithy77777. This guy is on his way to 1 million. million. 300,000 looks absolutely insane on this leaderboard. Such an amazing flex over here. And 10,000 moons. 10,000 moons. That's like a sixth of the stars that was the limits back then. They reached it in like 10 months or so. In 10 months, they reached 10,000 moons. Isn't that fascinating, guys? It took us like 5 or 6 years to get 60,000 stars, and it took us 10 months to get to 10,000 moons. I think that is absolutely insane, with 284 demons as his platformer demons done. Very, very massive respects. Like, these guys are pulling up a bunch of achievements that are, yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. So I guess go to this level and also complete it. It's an auto level, and display this UFO. Yeah, show yourself over here and make sure to slap that like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.